Ukraine carried out a devastating strike on a Russian command post in the Kherson region on Christmas Eve, inflicting heavy casualties on Putin's army. Artillery rounds hit a Russian HQ in the Zaborin area, where a meeting of army officers was taking place. 70 Russian Wagner Group soldiers were reported injured in the attack, according to Ukraine's general staff. They wrote, Russian Wagner Group headquarters were attacked in the settlement of Zaborin of Kherson Oblast, where a meeting of officers of the Southern Military District of the Russian Armed Forces was held. As a result, up to 70 servicemen were injured. The number of the dead is still being determined. On Christmas Day, a Russian MiG-31K fighter jet was reported to be on fire at an airfield in Belarus near Machulishi. The fighter jet is armed with Kinzhal Dagger missiles and has been used in bombing campaigns in Ukraine. Ukraine has hit 4 control points and 6 areas where Russian troops had been concentrated in the last 24 hours, the latest update from the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces claimed. Spokesperson of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine Alexander Stupun said Russia has carried out 19 missile attacks over Christmas Day while Ukraine has targeted spots known to be occupied by Russian Wagner Group mercenaries. According to the General Staff, Moscow's troops continue to focus their efforts on conducting offensives in the Bakhmut and Lyman directions in the eastern Donetsk Oblast while trying to improve their tactical positions in the directions of Kupiansk, Avdiivka, and Zaporizhia. Mr. Stupun added, the enemy continues to use a network of civilian health facilities in temporarily occupied territory to treat wounded soldiers of Russian occupation troops and mercenaries of private military companies. At another place, Wagner Group mercenaries fighting on the Eastern Front say the commander-in-chief of the Russian Armed Forces angered Wagner's group and complains that they have no more ammunition. The two fighters, stationed outside of Bakhmut, a city that has for the last 7 months been at the center of combat, launched into a vicious diatribe against Russia's war generals in a video leaked on social media. The group, known for its brutality and for answering directly to Vladimir Putin, circumventing the chain of command to which the Russian army is subjected, have been increasingly critical of those in charge of the special military operation in Ukraine, calling for a more hardline approach involving nuclear weapons and more violence. In the footage, the first mercenary said, to the chief of the general staff, "You are really evil, you are really evil. We have no more ammunition. There are guys dying for us and we are sitting here, not helping." Mr. Grozev added Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner Group and a Russian oligarch known as Putin's chef owing to his former role of organizing the catering for the Russian leader's state dinners, had said he had nothing to say about this video. Mr. Grozev suggested Prigozhin's refusal to comment amounted to his endorsing the attack on Valery Gerasimov, the chief of Russian armed forces. Prigozhin, who reportedly answers directly to Putin, has repeatedly criticized the Kremlin officials tasked with organizing the special military operation in Ukraine. Alongside fellow hardliner Ramzan Kadyrov, the leader of the Chechen Republic and the only other Russian chief with his own private army operating in Ukraine, Prigozhin has called for the use of more violence and weaponry on the front line, while criticizing the Russian generals sitting idly in Moscow, hundreds of kilometers from the battlefield. In a message in October endorsed by Prigozhin, Kadyrov wrote, "I don't know what the Russian Defense Ministry reports to the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, but in my personal opinion, more drastic measures should be taken, up to the declaration of martial law in the border areas and the use of low-yield nuclear weapons." Prigozhin's Wagner Group forces are currently fighting alongside the Donetsk People's Republic Army, a paramilitary pro-Russian outfit, around the eastern city of Bakhmut. The two groups have attacked and shelled the city so viciously it has been called the meat grinder. The Wagner Group is now replete with convicts. Roughly 80% of its forces in Ukraine were recruited directly from Russian prisons, and their history of human rights abuses in Syria and the Central African Republic is likely to continue, if not worsen, in Ukraine as a result. U.S. officials also claimed that Prigozhin's outfit in Ukraine was being supplied directly by North Korea.